Okay, this is like my third time trying to record this. I do apologize for the external noises, and I know it's weird that we're outside and I'm standing and I'm holding the microphone like I'm on a talk show. We're doing stand up, and I just kind of wanted to switch things up. I wanted things to feel a little bit different. I woke up feeling really great today, a lot of energy. I woke up, I felt really great. I worked out, took a great shower, cooked a nice breakfast, ate the breakfast, feeling really good, feeling really creative. I got the creative juices flowing. It made me want to, throw the camera up, which was a lot more difficult than expecting. I couldn't find my battery charger, I couldn't find my microphone, and it all worked out. I found it all. But the point is, I woke up feeling really great today. It's not a feeling that I have a lot, and not to get too real in this video, not to get too personal, but as a creator, I felt that recently I've been in sort of a creative drought, and I know that you saw the title of this video and you're wondering, what does this have to do with that? And don't worry, it's all going to come full circle, I promise. But what I'm trying to say is, obviously I want to be a screenwriter, a director. I want to make feature-length films. That's my ultimate goal. But sometimes you just can't. You just want to sit down and you want to write a screenplay, or you want to develop a new idea, and you just find yourself not being able to do it. And if you guys are creators, if you're people who have tried to create something, and even if you're not someone who's like a writer or a musician or a director, even in your everyday life you want to do something and you try to do it and you just can't, I understand how you feel, and I hope you understand what I'm saying when I say that I've wanted to create videos in the last few months. I've had some really great ideas that I sit down and I literally recorded an entire Fast and Furious video, or at least I recorded the audio for it, and then I just let it get away from me, and then all the time has passed and the video wouldn't really make sense now, and I'd have to re-record it. I'm ranting, but my point is, I've wanted to make videos, and I never really felt like really making them, like to the point where I'm recording it, editing it, and posting it until now. And a lot of that has to do with a movie, and the movie, obviously, if you saw the title of this video, you'll know is The Green Knight. So for those of you who don't know, The Green Knight is a new feature-length fantasy film. It is directed by David Lowery. This is his second feature-length film, the first being A Ghost Story, which I believe came out in 2017 or 18. It might have been 16. I know it was one of those years. And it was not my cup of tea. I thought it to be a bit pretentious at times, and maybe if I revisited it now, I would have a different experience. But as it stands right now, I don't love that film. I can appreciate the filmmaking aspect of it. I love the 4:3 aspect ratio. I love a lot of the decisions. Can't talk right now. I love a lot of the decisions made in it, but overall, it's just not something that I see myself watching frequently or ever being like one of my favorite films. And not that every film has to be a favorite film, but it's just not up my alley. It's not the type of movie that I want, but I can still appreciate it being made. This one is way more up my alley, and I had an absolute blast with this movie, not just as it being a really well-made film, but I found it to be very entertaining, and I know a lot of people aren't going to feel that way. I feel like if I recommended this to 10 people, at least 7 of them would hate it, but for the 3 of you who do like it, then hit me up and we'll have a chat about it. But yeah, I really loved this movie across the board. I think it is absolutely spectacular. I think the directing from David Lowery was very stylistic, very strong. You could feel like this was a movie made by a guy who had a vision, and every scene felt purposeful. Everything done in the film felt like it had a reason behind it. Nothing felt coincidental or done by accident. It all felt very calculated, and I really appreciate calculated filmmaking. It's just really impressive from that front. The cinematography is absolutely breathtaking. It's combined with the minimalist visual effects in the film so well. It all blends together. The CG and practical effects used in the movie provided so many great experiences while watching the film. There were times where I'm just like, that's a scene I could see myself just rewatching on YouTube, just for, how well it was done visually. I don't even know who the cinematographer for this film was. I'll have to look it up, and apologies. I should have probably looked it up before this video, but this was a little bit of a spur-of-the-moment kind of video. I had the idea last night right before I went to bed, and I woke up and I was like, I'm feeling great. Today's a great day to film. It's beautiful outside. It's like 78 degrees with a nice breeze. It's absolutely beautiful out, hence why I'm filming. Can't speak again. Hence why I'm filming outside. Yeah, and I threw on this nice white shirt. It's a little wrinkly, but that's all right. Getting back to my point, The Green Knight was a spectacular film. I really enjoyed it. The music was great. Just all around a really great film. And it got me thinking about something, and that's the main point of this video, and that is I'm really excited about the future of cinema. I'm really excited about what's happening in the world of filmmaking right now. As someone who wants to be a writer director myself, I think we live in a time where there are so many just endless possibilities, so many ways to create and to get your work seen out there. Hell, you can, for $5,000, you can film a feature length movie with your goddamn iPhone, edit it on the iPhone, put music in it on there, and do color grading on there too. And you can make like an hour and 20-minute long film and put it in a festival, and boom, you blow up and you're the next like big Spielberg. It's crazy the trajectory of careers nowadays. I mean, you take a look at someone like David F. Sandberg, who started out posting a Lights Out short. And if you guys haven't seen it, if you know the feature length film Lights Out, came out, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, maybe even longer. I don't know. Time moves really quickly. It might have actually been longer. It might have been when I was in high school. But the guy posted a short film on YouTube. It did extremely well. It's one of the highest viewed short horror films on YouTube. He was able to pitch it as a feature. It got funded. He made a feature-length horror film, and then recently he just directed Shazam. Like, he directed one of the biggest superhero films of 2019. That's mind-blowing that the guy started out just making a short film on YouTube with practically no budget. It's a very low-budget horror film, to making a feature-length movie, to making one of the biggest superhero films of the last few years, and one of the better ones, I'd say. It's still my favorite DCEU property. It's just crazy to me that he was able to do that. I think that's absolutely insane, and it's just really exciting to me. And I hate when people, I'm on the internet a lot, and one thing that really pisses me off is when people say cinema is dead, or, filmmaking is dead, and all we get are remakes, reboots, sequels, franchise films, yada, 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 adaptations. And yeah, I get that. If you're someone who only watches what you see in advertisements on commercials, if you're only seeing the newest Disney film, or if you're only seeing the newest Marvel movie, or if you're only seeing a movie when Star Wars comes out and you're really disappointed because the movie destroyed your childhood or whatever, then I can understand feeling like cinema is dead and you want to harken back to the days when Scorsese and Paul Thomas Anderson and Kubrick were making films, and I totally understand that. I love those guys. I love their movies. But the amount of up and coming directors right now, guys with less than 4 films under their belts who are absolutely killing it in terms of independent filmmaking. I mean, you have guys like Ari Aster with Midsommar and Hereditary, 2 of the best horror films not only of the last few years, but probably of the last 20 to 30 years. Those films are absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love Midsommar. I literally have the director's cut of it. My sister asked what I wanted for Christmas, and I said I want the director's cut of Midsommar. It's even longer, and a lot of people felt that movie was too long anyway, but that just shows how much I love that project. And even if you don't love those 2 movies, you can at least appreciate the filmmaking aspects of them, and even if they're not your cup of tea, you can at least admire that original films like that are being made. You take a look at a guy like Robert Eggers, who's making these incredible period piece films, movies like The Witch, or The Lighthouse, his upcoming film The Northman, which is supposed to be this like 14th century Viking revenge drama with an amazing cast. I'm super stoked for that, by the way. Edgar Wright, I know he has more than 4 films, but he only has a few on his hands, and Last Night of Soho comes out soon. You have a guy like David Lowery, who we just talked about, The Green Knight, fantastic film, at least in my opinion. A Ghost Story, which wasn't my favorite thing, but I can at least appreciate it. Did really well critically. You have so many guys out there. You have guys from the 90s still making movies. Paul Thomas Anderson is coming out with a film. Quentin Tarantino is still supposedly making a 10th film. It's supposed to be his last. We'll see how that plays out. Martin Scorsese came out with The Irishman only 2 years ago, and I think that movie is absolutely incredible. So you still have these directors. And speaking of The Irishman, not to get too off topic, but something like The Irishman or Marriage Story, which I own both on Criterion. I know, make fun of me for having 2 Netflix movies on Criterion, but they're gorgeous, so let me live. But my point is something like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, maybe not as much Hulu, but HBO. these streaming services are giving directors and creators so many avenues to create something. No longer do you have to work 20 years as a PA and work your way up the ladder to hopefully maybe be a director on a small project that gets funded by a studio. You don't have to do that anymore. You can create stuff on your own, and that's so exciting. You can make a web series and have it picked up by Netflix. You can, make a short film and pitch it to Netflix or HBO or Amazon Prime as an original series, and if it does well enough, maybe they receive it well, and then it gets picked up, and now, hey, boom, you have your own Amazon Prime series, or you're making your own feature-length film that's going to premiere on Netflix. I mean, that is absolutely insane to me, and it's so exciting. And hearkening back to my previous point, if you're someone who is so tired of the sequels, of the remakes, of the reboots, of seeing something from like the 60s remade now and just worse, I totally understand what you're saying. But there's great movies out there made by great directors. Jim Cummings is one of my favorite current directors, up and coming directors. He only has 2 feature-length films, Thunder Road, which was released in 2018 on Amazon Prime, is based on a short film that he made in 2016 that I think got into Sundance, and also The Wolf of Snow Hollow, which was one of my favorite films of 2020. The guy is all about independent creation and independent filmmaking, and it's really inspiring to see a guy who cares so much about getting away from that Hollywood studio mentality and is just trying to put the power back into the hands of the creators and not the guys in the suits making calculated decisions on what's going to make the biggest profit overseas. It's more about just creators being able to create and hoping people will receive their art well and connect with it. And that's what I love about film. That's what I want to see in my movies. Yes, I like my dumb popcorn flicks. I like going and seeing a dumb Fast and Furious movie with, cars blowing up and doing crazy stuff and Vin Diesel talking about family. And I love Pacific Rim. I love seeing giant robots fight giant kaiju monsters over Tokyo. I think that stuff's really awesome. But the stuff that I really connect with, and I think the stuff that people are missing from their films, is that level of emotion, that connection, that, that relatability, that thing that they can latch onto and think about for days after seeing the film. And there's so many films that come out every year that achieve this, that so many people aren't seeing because they're afraid to drive that extra 20 to 30 minutes to see it in a theater that's a little bit smaller, maybe not as comfortable, and doesn't have as wide a variety of snacks, but it has those films that are going to make an impact and are going to be remembered 30 years from now. And I think that stuff is really cool. And I know that this video is very unfocused and it seems like I'm just rambling about things. And I think my main point is that I'm really excited about the future of cinema. I think there are so many directors that 15, 20 years down the line from now, even if they're still making films, we're going to look back and say, remember the heyday of those, guys. Remember those guys who just completely came out of nowhere, did their own thing, and blew people's minds with their work. And I think that's really awesome. It gives me a lot of hope. It gives me a lot of inspiration as a filmmaker myself, as someone who wants to be that sort of person that can make films that people really connect with and people really latch on to. And I know I'm saying a lot of things over and over again. I didn't script this video out. This is just me sort of talking to you. It was beautiful outside today. I felt really great. I wanted to come out. I wanted to film this video. I wanted to make this content. And yeah, I might even sit down and do some writing tonight. Who knows? Bunch of possibilities. I have a lot of ideas formulating around my head. Hopefully this feeling stays or at least comes back soon, because I definitely want to be making more videos. This is a channel that I want to continue doing. I keep wanting to make videos for and making content for, so that I could just put my sort of thoughts and ideas out there. And yeah, so I think I'm done rambling for today. My throat is getting a little dry. Hopefully the audio on this is fine. All that being said, I am really excited about a lot of stuff that is coming up in the future in terms of cinema, whether it's streaming services, whether it's these great up-and-coming directors like Eggers, like Aster, Jordan Peele is one that I didn't mention earlier. I'm really excited to see what these guys do with their careers and, see what's going on 15, 20 years down the line in terms of just what they're able to accomplish. They've already done so many great things, and you may say, oh, well, it's not that hard to make 2 great films. Guys, it's really, really, really difficult to make 1 great film. So if you're able to make 2, you're already on the right track. hopefully they don't turn into the next M. Night Shyamalan. Sorry, Shyamalan, if you watch this, you probably won't. I do really love your early work, man. Um, but not to rag on anyone. But anyway, yes, there are so many things to be excited about in terms of cinema. So if you're someone who thinks that cinema is dying, cinema is dead, I challenge you to just go outside your comfort zone. Stop just watching the latest Pixar movie or the latest Marvel movie or the latest franchise this or sequel that, and just go find something new, something interesting. See the movie that you see the poster for outside the theater that you haven't seen a commercial for. Do some research on independent films that are coming out that you may have to drive that extra 30 minutes to a different theater to see. Just give these movies a chance, and I think you'll find at least a few of them are going to be right up your alley. Well, that is it for today, guys. If you want to hear more from me, make sure to click the like button, subscribe to this channel. Hopefully, I'll be able to put out more videos soon. And as always, I will see you guys on the next video.